Hi there, it's Carol with Carol B Crafts. Today we'll be doing card number 5 in my Sweethearts online card class. Now I think this is my favorite card out of the whole 7 projects. If you haven't gotten your free card class kit, check out my website www.carolbcrafts.com and find out how you can get the materials to make all 7 projects in my class absolutely free with a $60 retail purchase at stampinup.com using my current host code on my website. Now the stamps that we've been using for our class are the Petal palette stamps, and we're going to be using this sweet little bird here and then some of the leaf here, and I'm going to put best wishes, but you could put thank you or congratulations, from the heart, whatever you want to use, whatever sentiment you want to use, but I'll be using the best wishes today. And then on the inside you can put whatever you want, or you can leave room to write a little note. Now the paper for this card has an ombre type of look to it. It has more of the rich raspberry, then it turns into like a melon mambo, then a calypso coral, and then it ends up in like a powder pink. So I had to cut each 6x6 piece of paper into 6 pieces, or each 12x12 piece of paper into 6 pieces to make cards for my card kits. So you can see this one came from this darker side, but you may get a card that is cut from this part of the paper, or you might get a card that is cut from the calypso coral and the powder pink. So you'll have to make a few adjustments, but I don't think it'll be difficult for you to do. Since my colors are more rich raspberry and melon mambo, I'm going to use the rich raspberry ink for my little bird and my sentiment. But you might want to use the melon mambo if you have this one, or you might want to use calypso coral if you have this one here. Now this is the card kit that you'll want to get regardless of the color that you have. It'll have 2 pieces of the lattice die cut, and the die cuts that the dies that go along with the stamp set. It's called Petals and More Thinlits dies, and it has a nice selection of different types of dies. So this is what I call kind of a lattice decorative piece that I cut the melon mambo from, and then I cut the rich raspberry from it as well, but then I cut it in half because I didn't want a full piece of the rich raspberry. So that's where that comes from. And then the best wishes sentiment is on a piece of Whisper White cut with this piece here that comes with the die set as well. So that's really a nice set. It has a nice variety of things for us to use. Now if you don't have the kit, that's okay. I'll give you the dimensions as we go along and where things came from. So I don't think we have anything in our envelope. We just have our ribbon. There's no small pieces in our envelope, so we can set that aside. And we can set our gold ribbon aside. We'll start as usual. We'll get our thick Whisper White cardstock with the valley facing us and fold forward, or away from us I should say. Increase that. This is always the easiest part. Let's get that out first and then we can go from there. Although this card isn't really a hard card to do. It's just, you know, we need to take time to do it. So it looks like we should first put our DSP on, and before we can do that, well, if you're going to put something on the inside, this would be a good time to stamp it with the matching die. Since I'm using rich raspberry, I would stamp something with my rich raspberry, but I'm going to wait and see what I'm going to use this card for, or I might just write a little note. I've got so that I really enjoy writing notes. inside my card. It's so nice to get a handwritten note in your card, and instead of just a sentiment and a signature, which is what we often do. So we'll go ahead and put our ribbon on. We have 2 pieces of ribbon. The smaller piece is going to wrap around our DSP, and this is the 1/8 inch gold ribbon. This piece is 7 inches. That's the one that's going to go around the DSP. And then this piece of gold ribbon is 8 inches, and it's going to be for our bow. So we'll set that aside. Now on the back, at the bottom, you're going to want to measure. Oh, let me tell you, this DSP is 5 3/8 by 4 inches. And then you're going to measure at the bottom 1 inch from each edge of the bottom. So you're going to take your pencil and you're going to mark 1 inch from the bottom on both sides. So we'll go ahead and do that. And that's going to tell us where to put our ribbon. And we'll put our 1 inch square of adhesive there to put our ribbon in. Place this just above the mark that you just made and push it into the adhesive, and then bring it around, place it just above the mark and push it into the adhesive. Okay, it's ready to go on top of our card base, and this is a top folding card. I'm going to crease that just a little bit better because it's wanting to stand up. And I'll put my snail on here. And I'll put some snail on the ribbon as well. I'll use my waxy strip, push it into the adhesive. Okay, so it looks like it's a 1/16 of an inch on the edges and 1/8 of an inch at the top. So we'll go ahead and go with that, if that helps you. Okay, so we have that. Now I think we should do some stamping before we go any further. Now we have our gold foil, our large gold foil. I'll put the number for that on the screen. On top of that is going to be a piece of vellum. Now this vellum cardstock is cut with a scalloped die, and it's the 3rd largest, so it would be 1, 2, 3. If I can get it off of there. It's cut with this 3rd largest scalloped circle die from our layering circle framelits. So that's going to go on top of our gold metallic doily. Then next is going to be a circle, and this circle die is from the 3rd largest circle die. So 1, 2, 3. That's this die right here. That's our melon mambo. But yours may be a different color. Yours may be calypso coral, or it may be the powder pink. And then these 2 sentiment, well, for the bird, these I'll give you 2. You only need 1. These are cut with the 4th largest circle die from the layering circle framelits, and that's going to go on top of the melon mambo. And then I give you also 2 of the sentiment, like little bars that we'll be stamping as well. So we'll go ahead and get started with our stamping, and I'll put these aside, and we'll need our 2 white whisper white circles and our 2 whisper white bars, and whatever ink you're going to use. I'm going to be using Rich Razzleberry. Now I have 3 stamps. I have the Best Wishes stamp on a D block. I have the little bird stamp on a D block, and then I have the leaf stamp on a D block, and it just barely fits if you do it diagonally like that. And you want to be sure that because you're using the Stamp-O-Majig, you want to make sure that it doesn't stick over the edges so that you can use your Stamp-O-Majig like this, because we will be using our Stamp-O-Majig to put these in place. So you can see that I did the bird full strength, and then I did the leaf stamped off and then stamped on to the circle. So you're going to want a piece of scratch paper to stamp off on. Go ahead and open up my ink and get my plastic sheet. I stamp on the rough side. Now I want to, getting a little bit of stuff here, need to make more space. I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of adhesive on the back, on the sides, not on the area that's going to be stamped on. Try to avoid that. That'll keep it in place when I use my Stamp-O-Majig. So I'm going to go ahead and do the leaf, the branch, and this is where the bird is going to be sitting, in here on this branch right here. So I'm going to stamp that and put, so that will give me an idea of where I want, and I want the branch about halfway, going halfway through, but just lower, not exactly halfway in the middle, but somewhat lower. And so it's perfectly okay to move it around. You just want to make sure you leave room for your bird up at the top above that. So I think that's where I'm going to put it. So let me get my Stamp-O-Majig in place. So this time I'm going to ink up my stamp, stamp off, and then go straight down, and now I have my stamped off image. Next we want to stamp our bird above the branch, and we're going to do that in full strength. We'll go ahead and take our bird stamp and ink it up, and now we'll be able to place this on the paper. We want his little feet to go on top of that branch there. So I'll put my Stamp-O-Majig in place, ink up my stamp, and go straight down. And that should put my bird right on the branch. So this is now ready to put on our melon mambo. Let's do our best wishes. So we'll get one of the little sentiment bars, put adhesive on each edge, and put it down here on the paper as well. Get our Stamp-O-Majig out, and we'll stamp on our plastic first, our best wishes, or whatever image you're using. Thank you, congratulations. And then we can place it in here where we want it, and bring in our stamp again, and stamp straight down. We have our best wishes. So I do give you 2 of each of the things that you stamp, just in case there's like a little problem and you need an extra one. If you don't use them, you can always use them in another project that you might have. Okay, so let's put our ink away. We're ready to start building our card. So we'll first go ahead and build this up. Let's see, I have it so that this goes on first, just above the gold ribbon. So we'll put that on with some snail. I think I can just put that on there. And it's about a half an inch, a little more than a half an inch from the edge. So we have that. Now these two things, I have put adhesive sheets on the back. So you'll need to peel that off. The bigger piece is going to go on next. The full piece. And it may take you a minute to get this off. So we're just going to pull this back. And we're going to put that, it's about a half an inch above the ribbon and almost to the edge of the DSP over here. I'll make sure it's straight before we press it down. And then this one, which is a half, we want to make sure that it's going to be covered by the circle. Let's go ahead and put our little bird on the Melon Mambo or whatever color circle you have. And we'll put that right there. And then this is going to go on top of the vellum, so we'll go ahead and do that. Kind of hard to see the white on white. Just peeking, barely peeking on the outside of it. Now this is what's going to go on top of here. And this is going to give us an idea where we need to put our smaller piece, because we want the edge, we want that edge covered up. So that will give us an idea where we need to place that. So we'll take the backing off of it. So there's the backing. So we know that it's going to need to be behind that circle, so probably about right there. Lift that circle away, press it down. Now we can go ahead and put our little bird there. And I think, did I put that on with dimensionals? No, I just used some snail. So it has enough dimension as it is, but you do want to use a good amount of snail to keep it in place. Alright, so here's our little birdie going on top of our gold doily. And that looks about right there. Whoops, never had that happen before. Well, I'm guessing that is going to stay down underneath there. Okay, so then we'll put this on. This we are going to put on with little dimensionals, mini dimensionals. Put one on each end, and then maybe 3 in the middle to help it stay in place. I'll take those little backing off. And now we will put this on. And it's going to go over here. Maybe put a little bit there. It's going to go over here, somewhat over the gold, and maybe 1/8 of an inch from the ribbon. Just wherever you think it looks good. Push it down when you have it where you want it. Now we are all done except for our ribbon. We have to do our bow. Let me find my little piece of ribbon. This ribbon, I think I told you, was 8 inches. Now the way I do my ribbon is I basically take it and do 2 loops like that, and then cross one over the other like that, and then I just push this one here on the left. I push it through that hole that I just made when I crossed them, and then I pull it tight. And you have to adjust it a little so that your tails don't go through the loop. Okay, that looks about right. Now we're going to put that on with a mini glue dot. There's some included in your kit. You can use those. I'm going to use this one. It's because I can't find the other ones right now. So this one is just going to go about right here, putting it on top of that melon mambo, even with the bow, just above the ribbon here. And then I'm going to trim it with my scissors. Alright, we have another beautiful card in our Sweethearts Online Card Class kit. So if you haven't got your card class kit yet, and you'd like to get all the materials to make these 7 cards or 7 projects free, check out my website, www.carolbcrafts.com, and make that $60 retail purchase using my current host code, and you can follow along and have all the materials that you need to make these projects. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you for project number 6. Bye now.